That actually has already started, and that before the race, when it was getting set up, they had deleted all their save files, so they'd start from with no save files, or in redslash's case, not, because he has the amount of time. But getting started off, they renamed Chrono to just O, because as makes sense, if you have a shorter name, you'll save frames for each character that isn't displayed as the name comes up. It's a little more complicated than that, but a little too much to get into right now. But just a nice little cutscene to start out with, and then they're going to get control and immediately go into their menus.
That's right. The back end of this run is pretty complicated, but again, when you're learning it, I mean, you don't really need to know why. It's something as you go, you kind of just pick up on. So I think the barrier to entry to this game is pretty easy. It's pretty nice.
Yeah, and it has a really nice learning curve. Like, you kind of don't get really hard stuff super early on. The harder stuff happens later on in this race category. But DD is about to get out of bed now, and opening his menu is going to be setting the battle speed to fastest, changing his what's that called? The background, and changing the cursor to weight, or the memory.
So changing the background doesn't affect RNG or anything. It's just a preference.
And you saw that redslash changed his controls a little, which, while also being a matter of, preference and doing what you can beyond your controls, you can do what you like. It actually saves time directly, and not just I can do inputs better. And that's coming up a little later in the run.
Yeah, for me, switching X and Y at the beginning is a must. I know there's some people might do it a little later, but for me, X and Y right at the beginning.
We're in the first little bit, and this is actually kind of important, what we do here. You might recall from casual play that you get this fair, and the actions you perform in the fair have an effect on a scene later in the game. And that scene later in the game changes in length based on what you do. So we try to do actions that will get us to have a shorter scene later and save time through that.
Are we getting candy skip?
Oh, redslash nailed it. So you see that DrunkenDraconian has to sit here and wait for this candy cutscene, but redslash is right through. It's not saving as much time as you think it is, because when redslash comes back, he'll have to go through that cutscene again. But it saves like a whole second just from the way the cutscene is triggered.
So while we have a little time, how does the candy skip actually work? Just like
it's like it's kind of like Hecarim skip, but it's complicated. I don't know how to do it, so I can't really play it completely. But the essence is that there's a trigger there, and it's oscillating like the Hecarim trigger does. So you have to go on there during the right sequence, the right cycle, and it's like a 3-frame window, I think, like Hecarim. But it also has to be timed right, which is kind of hard to do when you have this whole room and not like Hecarim where you have just the setup for it. To talk a little bit more about RNG manipulation before we get into our first battle relatively soon, as I said, when they started, they deleted all their save files in DD's case, and redslash immediately went to the new game menu, which is like a 2-frame window, but redslash is good enough at doing it, and he likes keeping his saves. And what they're doing there is that seeds the RNG to a value of 0. So when they get into this first fight, they'll know their RNG is starting out, and they can perform actions the same way every time, and that will advance the RNG to the same place every time. When the battle starts, the RNG value jumps forward to a specific window, and that window is important for what the effects of the RNG are. And the overall goal of this manipulation in this section is to get into a favorable window for the Magus fight, and it's a little forward to what we would be in naturally, so we're going to have to do some things to extend it a bit. But for this first fight, what we're going to be concerned about is how often we get hit by the imps. They can manipulate it so they get hit 0 times. It used to be that we get hit twice, which would make the fight take a little longer, but it would save time later on with the Magus fight. But now we can do it so that we only get hit 0 times, and we don't have to get the animations of the imps hitting us.
Yeah, this, for the first fight in the game, is really just a great taste of kind of how this game is played. It's really fast inputs. And like I said, we're going to hope for 0 hits here. Red Slash is just about to make it happen, so let's see what he
And
does.
as mentioned, Red Slash is a lot further ahead, or is a lot not as far ahead as he seems because of the candy skip. It'll even up when Red Slash comes back to the present. But as for now, he's going to seem significantly ahead.
And I think Red Slash is good. He's got it.
Yep. So
it's very simple. It's X right X on your controller, X right X, and then you hold X again. It's got a nice feel to it. We'll take
Red Slash taking his time for bird skip there.
You don't want to mess up bird skip.
That's as simple as just getting on a 2-pixel window and then just pressing up. But if you go too far forward, you get into that fight there, and that will mess up your RNG. But there are backups to get back on it.
Yeah, and you don't want to get too confident there, too. I mean, it's pretty easy to walk into that bird.
Yeah, and I mean, you saw Red Slash really taking a slow time of it. You can do some pause buffer strats to help out there, but Red Slash made it work.
So it's a pretty easy run through the forest. We're not gonna do any encounters until our way back. And now it's time for some plot.
Delicious plot. We don't get that much of it, but we get some in very specific instances.
So what is Chrono Trigger?
But I figured I'd actually take this time to talk a little bit more about renaming characters, because a little bit in this section we're going to be seeing Chrono's name pop up. And we've named all the characters so far to one character, but it's not actually as simple as you get 4 frames because Chrono's name would normally be 5 characters and it's only 1. What's actually happening is that text boxes operate on an 8-frame window. So what's actually happening is you're getting an increased chance to close the text box 8 frames earlier than normal. But you can simplify it to thinking, overall you're saving about 4 frames per time Chrono's name comes up. So the different names have variable amounts of time saves based on how often they come up. And in fact, in this category, I think we've basically decided that renaming Robo isn't really worth it, but I imagine it's going to happen anyway, because it's funny.
Renaming him to comma?
Well, some people like to rename him Bobo. We'll see.
I'd like to see some creativity, if possible.
So now that they're done with some obligatory plot stuff, well, not yet, but they're getting there. We're going to be going in some battles in the forest, which are not required. You can just run past these, as we ran past on the way in. But this is going to be the only instance of like grinding in this run. And basically, what they want is Flame Whirl, or Fire Whirl, I can't remember what the exact wording is, but they want that for the battle with the Magus. So they're going to do 2 encounters here in the forest to get enough tech points to have the right tech for that battle.
And they're going to pick up a power tab as well.
Yeah. Also, their RNG window isn't proper for Magus without being pushed forward a little bit. So they're going to do some actions in the battles to move it forward more than it would otherwise. What that means is that they're going to attack with both of their characters on the same target, but the first attack is going to cause the enemy to die, which causes the other character's attack to retarget to the next living target, and also jump forward the RNG more than it would otherwise move.
So it is the retargeting that causes the RNG shift, right?
Yeah. So it shifts forward ahead a little more than normal, and if we do that enough times, we can get forward into the favorable Magus RNG window. And being in a bad RNG window for the Magus is particularly painful because they have an attack called Slow, which, as you can imagine, is not fast.
That is not speedrun friendly. Red Slash's fight seems to be going okay. Oh, maybe a little off there.
Yeah, I think DrunkenDraconian.
Drunken with a much smoother fight. Oh, sorry.
Though I wouldn't put it past Red to be on some weird backup or something.
Like a backup? Yeah, Drunken's was a little more, to my knowledge. I wasn't sure what happened to Red Slash there.
But I guess we'll see
take a look.
if he gets the... Yeah, I don't think that's regular. Maybe it is 19. Oh, it doesn't. He didn't die. That's definitely not. redslash is off script a little bit, so we'll have to see how his Nugget fight works.
I mean, there's gonna be a shift here. I think Drunken's pretty
Oh, okay.
smooth so far.
Apparently, the initial load was off. I didn't notice that in the first fight. Should have watched for the crits. But yeah, because redslash didn't delete the saves, he didn't get the 2-frame or 3-frame window for the very fast switch to the new game option. So he might be, you know, a little off on the Nugget fight.
Let's take
So
a
he's
look.
probably gonna be looking a little closer, I think, even with the candy skip time save considered.
So on script, this is a very straightforward fight.
So you see that we initially attack with Chrono, and that is not going to really help us as far as their HP goes, but it does manipulate the AI of Nagaets to come forward, so we can hit 3 of them with the fire whirl like that.
That's right. It's a Chrono attack, a simple fire whirl, and then we're just going to do a flame toss on that last...
But it looks like redslash had a fine time with it. Maybe there was a... maybe he was on a backup for it. He might know the backup for that particular problem.
Didn't seem to lose any time at all. He's been through this before. Guy's a pro.
That's the cool thing about the RNG is a lot of times you can just kind of manipulate your actions in future fights past your mistakes to get back on track. And knowing that can help a lot in races like this. And redslash definitely has made a lot of our backup strats. Renaming Frog to all A's, not really what he wanted to do there. That can happen sometimes.
OG, we've got an OG.
I'm not sure with overall time save. I think DD is still taking the W on that one, because all that extra time changing the name back probably wasn't worth it for redslash.
Yeah, well, I guess we're just gonna be waiting on that run back. That's where it's gonna.
Let's see if redslash does the fade out for the tab.
It's going for it.
Okay, that's a good time to land fade outs. So what redslash is doing is going into the doorway, which triggers the loading scene, and then he can close the menu and then move while the screen is fading out. But when he opens the menu again, it restarts the whole process. So you can use that to move and open that bucket for the tab, and you save a little bit of time of having to run out.
Yeah, it's a funny little loop you can make in that game to kind of just trick the game into thinking that you're going into the other room over and over and over again.
It will also be useful incredibly soon for the save anywhere glitch, which basically just consists of doing a fade out glitch and then ending on a save point. So the save anywhere glitch happens anytime you exit a room while standing on a save point.
So we look on script here so far for redslash.
Yeah, we think he got back onto it in Magus. But maybe he won't get the right crit for Frog, I don't know.
So let's see if Frog goes. He's got it. Awesome.
So maybe he knew what I was doing all along. I think that's quite likely. But yeah, we're going to be doing a fade out glitch into a save point coming up soon, which will give us a save anywhere status, which will let us save from our menu in rooms. Like, it'll let us save anywhere, as the name implies. So it'll act as if we are always standing on a save point, even when we're in rooms that don't have save points. In fact, you'll lose the status if you enter a room that has a save point in it.
And the first time you start doing this, like, it is not as hard as it looks. Like, it's just
yeah, it's really not that bad. And you don't have to do it as fast as you see the top runners do it. You can go a little bit slower if you need to.
Well, if you're like me, you just take all day.
Just getting the fade out glitch and then running into the save point. He's also going to be doing some equipment changes and the unequip glitch, which lets him remove gear from characters, which has a few effects, which I can explain later because he's about to do something a lot cooler. What's going to be happening is he's going to run into this room and he's going to use the saving glitch to save past the load point for the Yakker fight. So he's going to reset the game and then load, and he's past the trigger for the Yakker fight, so he has free movement. What that means is he can do something called text canceling, which whereas he runs off screen while someone's talking, it will cancel their text. and he'll also be able to run off screen when Yakura spawns. What that will do is trick the game into thinking that Yakura is defeated, because obviously, if you're off screen when Yakura spawns, you defeated Yakura, I guess. So
he just doesn't know what to do, so he just dies.
But he doesn't actually die; he just kind of stands there,
watching
his lane. Another thing that happened during that, well, that's just come up later.
So when you're first starting to do this glitch, does it make a lot of sense to make a second save?
Yeah, I mean, you can do whatever you need to if it makes it more secure, because it is possible to, save too short of the trigger for Yakura, but it's not as tight as some other skips in the game. But if you need to make an extra save so you don't have to worry about getting stuck in the room with the trigger, then that's totally fine.
And Chrono Trigger has like the easiest reset feature ever in any game.
Yeah. Which is good because we do it a lot, especially right about this point in the game.
Yep.
As mentioned, when you are loading the game, the amount of time you spend on the save select screen actually determines your RNG seed, or where it starts. So whenever they reset, they have to be wary of that. In this case, they're going to reset again soon, so it's not going to matter. They just matched it out for the Yakura skip. But coming up again soon, they're going to reload, and at that time, they're going to wait a little bit. So you can wait for a specific window on the load screen, and that will set your RNG value into a specific window so you can use it to manipulate things later.
So I think there's 3 instances of that in this run. There's this, the first one I think is like 0.4 seconds. There's like a mashing one, and then there's a longer one. So we'll make note of them as we come across them.
And if you get off RNG, you can use other ones in different places to get back on track. But I don't know how much of that we'll actually see here, just because, who knows, if they don't make any mistakes, then we'll only see the ones that are scripted. So as you can see, you can run through the forest here backwards without getting into any encounters. So the first time, they weren't forced to do those fights. They did them to get the text points for Firewhirl.
So we're doing a save anywhere here and a reset to avoid an encounter.
They have to climb up the ladder.
Kind of the reverse. Yep.
They climb up the ladder to switch the spawns, and then they save anywhere, and you get a pretty generous window on the reverse, because it's 2 frames going the first way, or two pixels going the first way. And then going back, it's a much more generous window.
Mm-hmm.
But they also have the time load to set up the RNG for the trial section. And also recall that redslash is going to get the candy cutscene as soon as he exits the screen that he gets put into next. Which I think is going to leave with DrunkenDraconian possibly in the lead.
That's what I've been thinking. I think Drunken, when he was on script, kind of made up quite a bit of time, so...
It was only a few attacks, but it can add up.
It does quick. And we won't know that they're on script or not until the first fight with the guard, so we've got a little bit to go. We can just enjoy some fantastic tunes while we wait.
And redslash is going to be doing a lot of waiting, as previously mentioned. You can't escape.
There he is. He's got to go back and do his time.
What's funny is that this is a lot more important in New Game Plus, where you immediately go to the portal and to the end of the game. But we didn't think that this was going to save any time in non-New Game Plus categories. But it turns out it saves 61 frames.
It's a lot of frames.
And as mentioned, it seems DrunkenDraconian has gained the lead, though, yeah, I guess the timers are synced, so he should be ahead. And we're back in cutscene lane for a little while. So when I mentioned at the beginning of the game that we're doing things to manipulate a certain scene in the future, this is what I was talking about. This trial sequence here, we actually want to get a guilty verdict to save time. In casual play, you might have wanted to get a not guilty verdict to get the rewards or whatnot. But in this case, guilty is slightly faster by about 6 seconds. There's just an extra few text boxes that are involved with being not guilty as opposed to guilty. And the way we've done things in the in the Millennial Fair means that it's up to RNG whether we get guilty or not guilty. It's slightly above 50% chance to get not guilty, but it's basically a coin flip. It's not manipulatable because it actually has to do with the real-time frame counter that you enter the scene on.
Right, so there's no real way. It's up to the RNG gods.
So perhaps the RNG gods can decide that redslash is back on track and closer again. You have to answer these questions with. You have to answer these questions with the non-default option, which means you can't totally mash through them. If you say yes, you can sometimes get additional scenes and whatnot, and it obviously waste time. Because the questions are part of the attempt to get guilty. So we just try to be
is he coming back?
We'll try to be a real jerk, so they sentence us to death, not sentence us to death and try to kill us anyway. The second juror that comes up is the one that matters. It's the one that has the roughly 50-50 chance of being either guilty or not guilty. And I think he's connected to the cat, but because we didn't enter that area at all, it just gives it a 50-50 chance of being one or the other.
So your whole verdict depends on a cat. Makes sense.
That we didn't even see.
That we didn't even see. Well, that's why he's upset.
Not
guilty.
So what's redslash gonna get? Also not guilty. So no time saved there. It's only a little scene that just takes a little longer if you're not guilty. It's not the end of the world or anything, but in a race it can make a pretty big difference.
Absolutely. So that's it. So I guess if they're both not guilty, then we're good.
Yeah, just whatever happens from now is going to happen. There's really not that many sources of uncontrolled randomness in the run. This is one of them for about 6 seconds. And the biggest source now is the upcoming Acid Alkaline fight, which can be a big swing.
Yeah, and as a new runner, that is probably one of the more frustrating.
It's a very unique thing in the run, but we'll get more to that later. But as mentioned, that's pretty much it as far as uncontrolled randomness goes. So it's really up to your skill to whether you're going to win or not.
So I think what I really love about this up until the first boss fight is that you really get to experience a lot of the different elements that make the Chrono Trigger run really cool. And if anyone's interested in learning this speedrun, just do it up to Dragon Tank. You can do it in it doesn't take that long, and you get a taste of everything, and it's awesome.
Yeah, you can check out the resources in the Chrono Discord, which I can provide a link to you. You can sign up for the tournament. There's a lot of resources. There's a really great tutorial by El Grant Jerry, and a lot of other content that are really helpful from the rest of the community members.
Yeah, Jerry's videos are awesome. The Discord's awesome.
redslash is making a point that I failed to mention. There is another source of RNG, and it's the guard RNG, which can be a few seconds, depending on how they turn.
Right. That's right.
It's really infuriating. It can actually be a lot more than a few seconds if you get caught by him.
So we're going to do an RNG check here, and we're looking for the number 60. If Chrono hits with his Cyclone for 60, we're in the right place.
In fact, a lot of the things we've done up to this point have been to get the 60 value, which is just enough to kill the guard. So we've gotten a better sword and power tabs, and done all that just so we could get a value of 60 on this guard here, which is just enough to kill him in one attack. It also tells us we're on the right RNG. There's, I think, only this window that 60 is in, so it's not a very common value. It's the highest value you can get.
And we are good. redslash and Drunken, both on script for the Dragon Tank fight.
It's really not that bad of a window for the reload either. It's about 0.3 seconds. And you can honestly, with enough practice, do it without relying on a timer or whatever. You can just react.
So here we're seeing another example of a fade out. Sorry to interrupt, but another example of a fade out fade out glitch, and we're trying to just skip a battle here that's kind of in the middle of the bridge. Same concept, you're just going into your menu before it fades out to bring you to another room, and I think we're good with both.
Yep. It's the longest continuous fade out in the category. So it really tests your ability to do the fade outs consecutively. redslash and DD knocking out some guards, which if they don't get to knock out the guards, they'll get into an encounter, which is not good if you're trying to manipulate your RNG for Dragon Tank. Because if you get off track here, you can't do the fast strat for Dragon Tank, because the fast strat for Dragon Tank relies on manipulated crits. Crits are a little harder to manipulate than just the normal attack values, because crits rely on a different it relies on a different RAM value. Basically, there's a different counter for crits. So even if you're in the right window, you can have the wrong crit value.
We just did another fade out for the guard fight there. It's possible to do that in one fade out, but I think 2 is kind of the safe strat.
Yeah. There's a lot of places like that where you can save fade outs if you fade out perfectly. And I mean, redslash is definitely good at it. It just kind of depends on how he's feeling for the race. So for this,
so this is our, yeah, go ahead.
We're going to be taking advantage of the manipulated crits to basically nuke the head down as fast as we can. And then we're going to rely on the unequipped glitch to give us a bunch of fire damage to kill the rest of the stuff.
And
which I didn't really explain.
Things about when you start to do these fights is that you're going to want to queue up your maneuvers during the animation. You know, the attack animation of either Chrono, Luca, or the Dragon Tank himself.
Yeah, that's how you sync up your attacks, because the RNG counter just moves over time and based on things that happen to the enemies. So if you sync your attacks up with things that are happening and pause the timer, you can guarantee that the fight will go the same way every time. There is some new tech here that I don't know if you maybe have seen this in a previous marathon, but if you stay in Luca's window coming up, you'll skip a tank attack.
Yeah, absolutely. It's an easy skip once you do it once or twice.
But yeah, the unequipped glitch we did back at the time of the Yakker skip, it has 2 effects. It increases the magic damage you deal, and it also increases your magic resistance to everything except fire? Gosh, I can't remember now. It's fire, right?
You're asking the wrong guy.
It's gotta be fire.
Yeah, we'll go with fire. Unless someone corrects us. Chat, back us up here.
But yeah, in the Japanese version, you don't get the magic damage increase. And it's actually a major source of the time difference between English and Japanese, which Japanese is faster now, I think. But it's interesting because it's kind of a give and take with the faster text speed and the slower battles.
We just skipped a little guard text box there, and it's just such a tiny thing you wouldn't even notice if you were looking at it. But if you kind of sneak through the doorway, you'll skip I think 2 text boxes from guards coming down the stairs there.
There's a lot of minor text skips like that just skip minor dialogue boxes and whatnot. We can kind of, there's a lot of them, and there's a bunch of minor stuff too with how your party groups up. I haven't really been noticing that so much, but I haven't been looking that closely. If you kind of manipulate the way your party is formed, you can speed up cutscenes very slightly. But now we're
back. What I really love about this game is, every screen I feel just has all these minor little like optimizations that make this game so much fun.
And you can buffer movement at the start of rooms, and there's so much of that. Just the movement is very interesting because it's actually possible to have perfect movement without too much trouble, and it's free form because as long as you're holding the correct direction, you're going there as fast as you can get, because diagonals are just as fast as cardinal movement. Yeah, it's a very close race.
Yeah, awesome pace, great RNG on the guards. Mostly staying on script.
It seemed redslash knew what he was doing, so I guess we can't complain too much. He lost some extra attacks, but
I'm sure he did that on purpose.
Now we're going into the future, which is my least favorite part of this category. But starting off, I'm going to go into Lab 16. That's cycle-based. So there's going to be some... They had to open these chests and not getting their entire savings stolen by rats. But they do want to be stolen by the rats some. Just at the right time.
I think yeah, this is an interesting run. It's hard when you first start running because you're not sure if you're doing it right. Rats are jumping all over you. You're losing things. It's just weird.
So redslash opened the chest and then got stolen from the rat. And what that causes the text boxes to basically back up. And for whatever reason, if you run through a fight trigger, the text boxes save like that. It just skips the fight. And we use that to save some time.
Yeah, so the text boxes take priority over the battle trigger for whatever reason. So you just gotta manipulate that with the rats and the chests.
There's a faster... I think that was second cycle, so there's a faster cycle you can get. But I guess they're just playing safe for the marathon, which is understandable. That's not the end of the world if you travel cycle. You just lose some money.
500 G's. That's a lot of money. So here we come across these future slums.
Yeah, this is just not a very fun part. I don't like this part.
It's easy to learn.
But it has a lot of interesting...
something about it.
It has a lot of interesting movement tech, though. So that'll be nice. And redslash always like to show it off. If you recall the very beginning of the run, redslash changes its controls. That is entirely in service of this upcoming part. There's a boss up here called Guardian, and when you're in Guardian's room, if you press the X button, you get into a battle, which is normally the menu button, which really makes it kind of difficult to do the fade-out glitch. But if you change your controls so that menu is not on X, you can just go through the room doing the fade-outs like normal and fade out the Guardian boss.
That's right. So if you're not familiar with this run, but you're familiar with the game, you were expecting a fight there. Well, we kind of just walked right on by it using that fade-out glitch we've been using throughout the run. So
yeah, we've only fought one of the 3 bosses so far. The stats aren't getting
Don't
better.
worry. We will have to fight quite a few.
A few, but there's still some skip bosses in our future.
So one of the things as a new runner you have to remember is you got to talk to this guy twice.
Yeah, you have to see the text. You have to see the text about the rat to be able to catch the rat. And the rat is interesting because you can actually catch him real early, but it actually loses you time.
Got him pretty early.
But if you catch him, midway through, that's about as fast as you can go. You just don't want to catch him super early and lose time.
That I did not know. See, I just chase that rat as hard as I can every time.
It's trickier than it looks too, because the corners are just weird. And here, redslash going into this room. We'll see if he goes for the nice cycle. Nope, backing out of that one. That was close. Had to wait for that.
I'm not that brave. I'm not.
The reverse trip is a little easier, I think, so we'll probably see that from you too.
I mean, these are tighter windows than he's making it look.
Yeah.
So again, we're going to use the fade-out glitch here to kind of skip over that cutscene. That's the one where we watch the world blow up or whatever. Yeah,
and for whatever reason, you still have to watch the second part of the cutscene, but it's a little messed up now. Luca's in the console. It's weird. But it saves a lot of time of having to watch the cutscene.
And it's glorious just to see the graphical glitches and everything.
Yeah. So the fights that they're avoiding, not only would they lose time just having to fight an unintended fight, they'd also lose time because they would be off RNG manip, and we do use this string of RNG manip to do some stuff. There are some fights we have to do that we need it for, and you'll lose some time by having to do those unmanipped.
Right.
We will be losing
them. One of the other nice things about learning Chrono Trigger, it doesn't really go by a step count for RNG manipulation. It's all through.
It's all about what you do in the battles.
That's right.
Or in some cases, avoiding battles properly, but it's still the same sort of thing.
Yeah.
Ooh, redslash doing the mid rat, making up for the earlier mishap.
Swag.
Very much. Let's see what DD does. He's a little safer. Oh, he's taking it real safe. That's good. I mean, Red came very close to getting into that fight, I think. So
Look, it made the difference. It put him a ways ahead while Drunken was kind of taking his time. So now we give them seeds and life is good again. Is that the plot?
I think so. What's a future?
Is this Back to the Future?
I don't know. We're going. Well, we don't come back in this category.
Oh, not yet. Oh, not at all, right? One visit to the future.
So now we're gonna go race Johnny. It's actually possible to skip this race, but it involves like a super lengthy save anywhere setup, and it's actually not faster. It's not a very long race.
Pretty swaggy though.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
I don't like this race. I'm just gonna put that out there now.
I've definitely been known to have some failures in this race. In fact, we had a lot of failures in the previous tournament. Some high-profile failures, even. The tournament winner was known for losing the Johnny race and still running the speedrun race.
Who was
I guess
that?
It worked for him. Adavino won the last tournament.
Okay. Is there any trick to maximize your chances to winning this? Is there anything you can do to speed it?
Well, for winning, it's just as simple. It's just as simple as boosting at the end. But the thing is the more time you bounce off of Johnny, the more time you save. So redslash is pretty good at this, and we think that the score is basically a decent indicator of how fast the race was, and redslash will get up his score real high. In fact, I think he set a new personal best. I don't know if he's beaten it since then. During his race against me at the last tournament. So redslash is known to have some crazy race scores.
That was intense.
Yeah.
He crushed it.
And DrunkenDraconian's doing a pretty good job too. What's important is that you win, but you do save time by bouncing off of Johnny and doing boosts forward.
All right, 2 wins, so we're good. So this is a fight. We're finally going to fight again.
Yeah, and this fight is manipulated, and we have a Berserker on Ma, which will become a lot more important later on. The Berserker as an item, it's very important to this run. But
so
we
don't control
manipulate
the character with Berserker.
Yeah, we don't control the character, but we do control her indirectly in that we've manipulated the RNG such that she attacks what we want her to.
Exactly.
But this is a dangerous fight because if you're off RNG and Chrono gets hit, you die.
Yeah, there will be a death here. It's pretty easy, but both of them pretty smooth.
And now we're meeting our robot friend.
We're gonna get to the best track of the game.
Yeah. You see DrunkenDraconian just walking past up. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's an interesting mechanic where if you run in there, you get that battle, but gotta go slow to go fast in this case.
That's right. That's why we choose wait. That's why we walk. Time is slow.
A lot of forced emotional cutscenes in this part.
I'm feeling it. Every time. It never gets old.
Let's see if they rename Robo. What do we think's happening here? Hey, we got a Bobo.
Oh, Bobo it is. We can't have 2 Bobos, though. Come on.
I think it's possible.
No way.
I imagine they coordinated this. Bobo is an important friend. As I mentioned earlier, changing Robo's name to one character doesn't save any time in this category. Oh, we got a J. Oh, no.
J? What's J all about?
Got J and Bobo.
Okay.
A real jam right now. A real bop.
Jay's never gonna give you up.
True.
It's true.
So now we have Robo in our party, and we're going to go off to the factory. Coming up first, we're going to manipulate a sick crit out of Robo.
The trick to this is just letting all your party members' ATB fill up before you attack. If you attack before they all fill up, this won't work right. But it's just hold, simple as hold X, right? When they fill up.
Yeah, once they fill up. Because otherwise, Luca's turn comes up before Robo's, and it's just no fun. She steals the crit, but doesn't do enough damage to kill it. It's terrible. So we're about to enter the section of the run in which there are some unmanipulated battles. It's very interesting, and it's actually based on the exact frame that we leave this room. It's sort of possible to manipulate it in that if you leave on the right frame, you can get the right battles, but the only way we have seen the frame timer of the in-game time is by waiting for a minute rollover on the in-game timer, and it's really finicky and not really worth it because also you have to wait a lot with the way a normal run goes. If it was a little closer, maybe it might be a little better for us, but it's not, so we're just going to go through it and adapt to what happens in this next fight. So this next fight here...
First instance of a run, too. That was something a lot of people don't even know exists in this game. Yeah,
you get to run away from some stuff, and it's really inconsistent what you can't run away from, but we'll definitely get on that later. But this fight here, the setup of the acids and alkalines, what number there are, is based on the in-game frame timer that we entered this room for some reason. So we can't really manipulate this fight easily, and even if we could, it's actually a really interesting fight RNG-wise because the slimes increment the RNG like as they move, so it's very difficult to write a script for. So we just kind of have to adapt to it. It's tricky because if you have an attack of green when it's next to oranges, they blow you up and it hurts.
Drunken getting a way more favorable situation here.
You want greens. The best pattern is all greens, because greens are easier to do damage to. If they're all greens, you don't have to worry about counterattacks. You just cycling them down and they die real fast. But the pattern of them also matters, and their movement matters for being able to efficiently attack them. So it's really complicated, and seeing good runners do this fight quickly is quite satisfying.
Yeah, as really a new runner... Yeah, I mean, as a new runner, it's something you're going to want to probably have a save state for and just mess around with and feel what it's like, because when you cyclone the greens next to the oranges, it's going to do a lot of damage. You got to keep an eye on Chrono's MP. Like, there's just all sorts of things that can go wrong here.
And the other thing is that the attack values can have such a wide range. You can You can get one crits with Luca sometimes. You can get crazy damage numbers with Robo. You can get ones with Robo.
Can be unpredictable and insane. Like, they can just get informations that you thought you had it, and then they just all clump together. And yeah.
So I think that DrunkenDraconian had the better pattern, but some of his damage rolls were real low, so didn't really get to gain any time there.
Learn to love that fight.
So a recent addition to this is you have to enter this password here. I used to be we'd have to like press the buttons, but you can just hold all the buttons down and just enter them fast as possible. It's really fancy.
You don't say. I did not know that until right now. That's hilarious.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
I remember the old days having to remember the password, because you're supposed to go to the other part of the factory and learn the password, but it doesn't actually make you do that.
See, just learning this run, I've just been entering in the key combo.
So we're in some more cutscenes, and we're eventually going to be fighting our series. Now, our series, because we went to the acid alkaline fight where the RNG got completely messed up, it's our one unmanipulated boss fight. But we have a good strategy for it that works on every RNG, as long as you perform well. And it's as simple as just 4 cyclones, really.
4 cyclones, but, you know, I think this is the first part of the run where you're going to have to really feel that sense of urgency with your inputs. You're going to have to be quick.
You want to get the first cyclone out as soon as you can, because you don't want to get a ton of attacks, because you can die. You can lose the run here.
That's right. And the nice thing is, though, yeah, you only need to get in your menu, though. You don't need to execute the attack. You just need to get in the menu, and that's what's so great about wait. Yeah.
Because of wait mode, once you get in, you can take your time and put in the attacks. In this case, there are times coming up when you have to input the whole attack in a specific time frame, but not here. You just gotta get in the menu.
So what is optimal for Luca? I mean, Chrono's taken over. 4 slashes is what we're looking for. Ideally, what would we be having Luca doing?
I think there's different strats. I think the fast one is the mid-talk strat. I'm not really 100% on this.
Mm-hmm.
It's also safe, but it's a matter of her actions don't super matter, but you can, you know, cover bad things happening based on what you do with her. But what we're doing here is we can't control their actions with RNG manipulation, but we're basically AI manipulating them by the way we're killing them. We're going to kill the back row first. The front row first? It's been so long.
Back row. We'll attack the front row first, then we'll do 2 back, and then we'll come back to the front for the last one.
Yeah, and that eliminates a really nasty counterattack that would absolutely kill us. So you see redslash not getting attacked by the scary ones.
So the back row should be cleared for redslash, and he'll have 1 more cyclone in the front row, and then that's a wrap. It is a little spooky the first time you start learning this, but it is not a bad fight at all.
No. And it's really easy to practice, and just the really important thing is that your very first double tap is fast, because it kind of cascades from there. But it's very doable. You can also lower the battle speed a little bit to make it a little easier for this fight. But both runners having no problem with it, which is what we expect in a matchup of this caliber. Our serious mistakes are basically non-existent.
Oh, they're both just killing it right now, and it's awesome.
They're doing great.
So we have the slow drag of Robo.
45 R series.
It's fading in and out to give you that sense of time, you know. Back to the sad.
Very emotional.
So, yeah, look, this is in support of an upcoming Defeat Magus tournament. Links are in chat. You can join us on Discord. If you ever need an excuse or been wanting to learn this game, this is an awesome opportunity. The Discord's really helpful. You get to talk to Tsunami all the time, who's a pro.
Oh yeah, I'm such a knowledgeable person.
And I challenge you, chat. Even if you're like, man, I don't know, maybe I can't learn this. I say, learn up to Dragon Tank. I'm gonna issue a Dragon Tank challenge, and then come on the Discord and say, hey, I did it. I'll give you guys 3 days.
It's a really nice learning curve. You don't really have to learn anything crazy too early on. And the stuff that you have to learn in this category it's all really doable. There's easier strats for a lot of things that might seem hard for our runners, but there's always a better way. There's always an easier way for most cases. So we're gonna strand Robo here, because we can only have 3 at the same time. Check on the bucket.
Run around your room. I think so.
Yeah. redslash normally does some interesting stuff here. It turns out that running around the room is based entirely on hitting triggers in the corners of this square room. So you don't actually have to run around the edges of the room. You just have to hit the corners. And you can save some time if you move correctly in such a way that you're only hitting the corners. And redslash normally does this, so I imagine we'll see it soon. Yeah, as he's doing now. It requires some practice, but it definitely saves time. It's really nice looking too.
Yeah, right? Look at him go. Nailed it.
So now that one of the most important skips in the run is coming up, it's called Specchio skip. And all you have to do is say no to Specchio.
Say no. It's so hard to resist him though, you know?
Yeah, it's such a cute little froggy. His form is based on
your new skills.
His form is based on the levels of your party. And in casual play, you probably never saw this form, because it requires you to be quite low level. And we've skipped 2 bosses at this point, 4, so we don't have a lot of experience.
He's just a tadpole at this point, really. So we're off to 1000 AD, and it's time for the most important skip in the game, and that is the
actual
dash.
Yeah.
Yep.
This is a fun one. So there's this cake here.
It's so easy too. So it's as simple as just going into your menu when you say yes to eating the cake, and then just jumping out again and being able to skip a whole bunch of text boxes.
And they really want to be talkative. I mean, that's their trade for eating their cake. We're just gonna take the cake and dash.
You just grab that cake and run out the door. It's the only way to eat cake.
So since we lost our RNG from the acid alkaline fight, we can't manipulate the crits here like we would like to. But Marl can sometimes get a crit on the first hit and kill it in one shot. We didn't get that. Unfortunate. Well, for redslash, it's possible DD can get it and save an attack.
So we're gonna run from a lot of these fights. So yeah, we're gonna see a lot of running coming up.
We're not gonna fight anything other than that first fight.
Yeah.
Some fights can't be.
Are we gonna be doing the menu skip here for running?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's really simple. When you're holding L and R to run away, you just go inside of a menu and you just count a few seconds and leave, and it's pretty much a guaranteed run every time without getting hit.
Yeah. So there's some fights that we can just skip the triggers for, but there's other fights we have to get into, and sometimes we can run from those fights. It's not really clear why you can run from some and not others, but this fight, for example, for redslash, you can run from, so we're going to do that.
Right, and I think the run timer, like, with the menu changes depending on the encounter. I don't think it's the same every time, right? It is weird.
Some fights are different. Redslash doing another fade out here to skip a really long fight. Like, I think you can run from it still, but the intro to the fight is really long. You're also doing a minor encounter skip called Bat Skip, which you can watch closely when DD does it. But it's kind of like an inverse bird skip where you press down instead of up, but it's got a lot bigger window to press down, and you just kind of slide past the trigger.
Yeah, and if there's ever a spot that you're going to be annoyed by early in the run, this is probably it.
Yep, because we're just about to skip a Hecarim. So
see, redslash did the yeah. You go ahead. You take that.
To explain this. He got save anywhere, and then he ran into the room. He saved past the Hecarim trigger, which is a lot more difficult than saving past the Yakko trigger. It's a 2-frame window the way he does it, and requires timing your run forward precisely in a way, because you have to release the B button. Because if you just run straight forward, you get there too soon. So you have to slow yourself down slightly by holding off on the run button. And then you have a 2-frame window to save your game, and then you're past the Hecarim trigger. And you boop the Hecarim on the nose, and then run back. And he just dies because it's off screen.
You do have to be careful, though. I think you can, if you hit like your A button or something, it is possible to trigger the fight.
Yeah, it's if you press A on him, he might fight you. It's not fun. Just boop him by running into him, and then just run back.
That was so smooth, though, for both of them, man.
Yeah,
they make it look so easy. Yeah, it was awesome.
I mean, it might seem intimidating as well, but there's a much more friendly beginner strat that has a much safer 3-frame window.
That's what I was way more prepared to talk about.
Yeah, this one's a lot faster, though. Now they're going to do End of Time Save Anywhere, which has a few... End of Time Save Anywhere has a few elements. The first is they want to cause their party to get slightly out of alignment by holding up right as they enter the screen, and it causes a slight mismatch. Then they're going to do a text box save. I can kind of explain this more when DrunkenDraconian gets there, but they're gonna save a text box by talking to the old man, then opening their menu as they cross the place where the text box would leave, then save the pillar. Then you go down here and you press the bucket, but you have to be on a very specific pixel. It's actually one of your party numbers, that's been a specific pixel. And then, oh, very spooky. But if you do this right and you press the A button for the text boxes at the right rhythm, you can get control of your party back, like you did in Kick and Dash, and get on the save point, and that gives you Save Anywhere status.
Yeah, it's there's a lot of little elements. It is pretty straightforward. Like, it's not that complicated, but
Red actually missed Save Anywhere there.
So he's gonna have to go to the.
He's gonna have to do it the old-fashioned way.
Yeah, he'll be heading over to the cathedral to get that Save Anywhere glitch back. He didn't quite get it, so.
And you saw that he was like pausing there to get into the the right, because based on the character that's being displayed, you can tell whether you're on a good frame or a bad frame, because certain frames don't work for end-of-time save anywhere. It's 1 frame in 4 that don't work. But if you pause buffer, you can get it 100% consistent if you do the input right. But that is going to catch DrunkenDraconian up significantly, if not put him ahead. It's going to be close.
It'll be close, yeah. I think redslash did pull away enough to maybe just kind of even it out. We'll see. But this is a crushing blow to redslash, no doubt.
It's unfortunate. The pause buffer strats are really nice, because it used to be, before the pause buffer, you just double tapped and prayed you were 75% lucky. But this time around, in this tournament, we have access to the pause buffer strats, which also helped a lot in Lava Cell Skip, which is a category that both of these runners run. And as previously mentioned, redslash is the #1. Redslash is ahead now. Got save anywhere. Now he's going to do Zombor Skip, which has 2 components. You first have to skip past this captain guy, which is the trickier of the 2 components, which requires another release B, like you did in Hecarim, to go slightly slower than you would normally do. And you can save past his head if you time the triggers right. And then there's another guard that you have to do 1 release B to save past his shoulder. And DrunkenDraconian fails on the first try, but he has backup because he can just load from the save he made before.
Yeah, this is one of those sections when you first start learning that you're really going to have to put some time into.
It's tricky, but it's doable, and
it's very doable.
It's safer than Hecarim Skip is, and that it's hard to get yourself completely messed up in a way that keeps you from just reloading a save.
Mm-hmm.
So now we're going to do another minor skip called Tata Skip, where there's a ladder that you're supposed to climb up that causes a cutscene with this character named Tata. And by saving on the side of the mountain, since we have save anywhere, and reloading, we get placed on top of the screen, because the Z value basically is not really kept track of, so it just assumes we're on top of the mountain. And it keeps us from having to do Tata Skip, and also lets us reload our RNG value for this battle here, which is just a mash window. But the actions we have to do in this fight are important. redslash is putting Robo on Rocket Punch, which will be important for the upcoming boss fight. But they're doing that kind of stuff here. They're getting their tech menu set up and getting on the right RNG value for the Masamune.
This is all about Masamune, and you're going to want to be on the...
And this is real crazy, because there's a ton of battles in Dinadora Mountains, but we skip all of them except for that first one.
This is a fun run. I love doing this section.
It's so fun.
Game. Yeah.
It's so fun to just run past all the triggers, and it's really calming. There's nice music. It's great.
Yeah. It's a great lead up to Masamune, that's for sure.
Yeah. And there's a ton of battles here that you just don't even know that we're skipping, because they're just making it seem seamless. The room DrunkenDraconian said you had to run up in to skip a 5-battle gauntlet. It's crazy. It's a lot of fights.
So they are skipping battles all over the place right now.
Yeah, and then the waterfall skip actually requires some even odd pixel nonsense to skip past it. But now they're very close. In fact, they seem pretty synced to me.
Did Draconian get the speed tab?
Nope.
No.
Very interesting lead for DrunkenDraconian now.
Well, not putting on those power and... Yeah, without the speed tabs or power tabs, he didn't put them on, I don't think, so... Maybe I missed it.
I think there's a strat for that. Oh.
So to my league.
I think that's like a recent addition or something. There's some tab stuff that I'm not super up to date on.
Okay. So the first part of this fight's fairly straightforward.
Yep. It's all... We have our Berserker on Chrono, but we only need to kill one of these guys to progress this fight. So we really need them to only attack the one guy.
So we're going to attack the left one.
Yeah. We're going to kill the left one, and we have the fight set up, so it... Well... not good for DrunkenDraconian.
Okay.
Don't know what happened there. Maybe it was the tab thing. That would be
Yeah,
weird,
something seemed different to me, but I didn't know how much that would affect. Well, he's going all the way back.
It has to, because there's really no
Safe spots,
getting back on script there. But we'll see redslash do that fight now. This is a punishing mistake, for sure.
Mm-hmm. It looks like he's okay now.
Yep. I don't know if it was the tab thing or not. Maybe someone will mention it in chat.
Yeah.
That,
So
that
this
seems
is a
suspicious
fight.
well.
Yeah. So for the next phase of this fight, speed matters.
Yeah, this is a fight that was actually developed by DrunkenDraconian. It was really his pet script, if you will. He really wanted to get this to work, and it's gone through some changes, but the original Zerk massive fight was all DrunkenDraconian's baby, really.
So same as Dragon Tank, you're always going to want to queue up your actions during the previous actions animation.
And in this case, it's really tricky because you have to do them during these relatively short Chrono crit animations, or attack animations sometimes. But you have to leave the tech menu before the damage numbers from the attack come off.
Now there is a small piece of RNG, I believe, in this with Robo's ATB gauge. Yeah, so we're gonna look here at, I think it's right now.
This looks, if this is the right time, that's bad ATB, I think. But it's manageable.
Next.
Yeah, this is a relatively, this is a really nice fight. It's been changed a little bit, but
yeah, it looks like we're off script
really fast.
With, redslash.
Uh-oh. Oh no, but see, no, with the bad ATB, you have to set in the menu. It's fine.
Oh.
Or not, if we're on Cure Beam strats. Wow, this is something.
Yeah,
like
he's just taking
his
little chance here.
DrunkenDraconian definitely has a chance to catch up if this doesn't kill boss.
He should be done here.
Very spooky.
Yeah, something. I mean, that's the thing about this fight, though. Like, he'll just go off, and it's hard to even know why. Like, some of the timing is pretty tight. It was bad.
He's still not dead, but spooky. And now DrunkenDraconian is in his coming into this part of the fight now. You really don't want Chrono to be dead. That would be problematic.
Yes, indeed.
Though redslash has this weird semi-shot backup where he gets revives early. So he has a little bit more ability to recover from this sort of thing.
So let's keep an eye on Draconian. Yeah.
He doesn't have access to the revives like redslash does. So he has to just kind of get with what he is given, but it's going to be a lot closer than you might have expected. Yeah.
This should be Draconian's baby, so he should nail this, no problem.
When is this boss going to die?
There you go.
Oh, there it goes.
Correct.
It's a very short fight when you do everything right, but when you get off script and you're scrounging for whatever damage you can get, it seems to take forever. But that's kind of yeah. That was a great improvisation there, and it's very rare.
I made that work.
It's very rare that this fight goes wrong because it's not as it's tight, but it's not. It's very practicable. So seeing some interesting improvisation from redslash and DrunkenDraconian making up a lot of time because of it.
It's a fun fight. It's one of my favorites. When it goes well, it just feels smooth, and yeah. The script isn't that bad.
It's certainly a lot faster than the old fight. The old before Zerk fight.
The Draconian's right on pace.
Yep.
DrunkenDraconian
is saying that his problem in the DrunkenDraconian does the old script because there's two different, well, there's several different, but the old Zerk Massa, the original Zerk Massa, is the one he does, which is the one he made, so he's more familiar with it, obviously. redslash is doing a newer script, with some different attacks. But he also, DrunkenDraconian also said that his mistake in the initial fight was a late fire by Luca, which is a source of errors. You have to get that fire off real fast in the first fight. But he has gone through the fight.
Great fight, Draconian. Great job. So, I think we're off to the market. I think for the only time we're going to do any shopping during this run.
We got a lot of shopping to do. redslash went and took a detour there to get some revives earlier, and it really paid off.
Yeah.
But we had to get everything we needed for the rest of the run, which isn't that much longer, honestly, because we just had to get to Magus here. But we need some stuff.
Gotta get more things.
You had to get the Heroes Medal from Tata, who we don't know at all. Getting a new redslash, discovering the new.
Did he get a new? One new?
Yep, that's one new so
far.
far.
For redslash.
It's a slight chance to have a new spawn in this room every time we go through it. And we go through it 4 times. So the legendary 4 new is an incredible rarity. But it's,
I believe,
seen by some people as good luck to find a new. Seen by others as bad luck to find a new. It's all in your perspective.
Background guy might be one of the few people that has a recorded 4 new run.
It's like no second new though, but there's still 2 more opportunities.
True story. If you don't yell new when you see a new, your run won't be accepted. Not a true story.
DrunkenDraconian finishing up his shopping. He was also doing some, equipment managing and doing some unequips and whatnot. There's a lot of that. We used to shop before Denadoro in the old strat because we needed the equipment to beat Masamune. But this way we can save off, we can have all the shopping done afterwards and it's a little faster. And the fight's a lot faster too.
Back to another bird skip, I think, then reverse.
Yep. Well, no, we don't reverse bird skip here. We just run away. Because we don't have save anywhere right now. We lost save anywhere when we entered the save point room in Dendoro. So just reverse, get into the bird fight. We do 3 forward bird skips in the round and 1 reverse bird. We've already done 2 of the bird skips so far. But there's 1 more coming up later.
So we just have a bit of running around to do here before we progress.
Gonna fade out a cutscene here. Talk to Melchior and not know what's going on in the game at all because we've faded all of the story.
Yeah, you just gotta destroy the game here with some fade outs. You
see, redslash is saving here because it lets him check if he did the fade out properly. And it's also going to... The more important bit is that he's going to get back on RNG by doing a reload. Because redslash is confident in his fade outs, but he can check that he's on the right story part by seeing the save file name. But the important thing is that he did a timed reload, so he'd have the RNG be good again for the next part of the run.
That's right. And it's such a neat thing about this game that it has named saves that we can use that to our advantage. So checking the name of the save, loading, on the timer, all of this just to get on the right, make sure we're on the right script.
DrunkenDraconian getting attacked in that battle, which I think is fine. I guess we'll see, though. Because you can run away without getting attacked, I think. redslash entering this Reptite battle. It's actually interesting because the patterns of the Reptites are determined by the way you cancel the text boxes. And I don't think redslash is getting some cooperative Reptites.
No.
Or unless the strat has changed, I don't really know. Seems weird to me.
What we were looking for was a slash on the left 3 Reptites there, but I think with the antipode we're good.
DrunkenDraconian onto the fade out. He's a little bit behind, but it's not insurmountable if redslash has an RNG mistake too. Which he has had. They've both had some major mistakes. So the rest of the run is less mistake prone, I'd say.
So Ayla's coming in and kicking some dinosaur butt. Reptile butt.
So I'll watch on DrunkenDraconian's screen right now and kind of point out the way the text boxes work. He closes them based on some visual cues from the reptites. And that allows him to manipulate their movements during the fight. So it's like you have to wait for one to run off screen, and then you wait for the other one to kiss the screen. It's interesting, and then they'll do what you want them to. So he gets two of them lined up there. Redslash is only able to hit one because of whatever reason. It's also RNG based, I think, so maybe Redslash just loaded wrong.
Yeah, Draconian's going to save a little time here with getting a...
shorter fight for DrunkenDraconian.
Yeah, the next set's easy. It's just 2 slashes, one on the left, one on the right, and it clears them out. You just kind of have to force your way through these cutscenes.
Renaming Ayla to 9. The problem with Ayla's name is that the name that you would think to go to first, which would be delete all the characters up to her last A, is taken. You can only have one character with a specific name, and since we've named Luca lowercase a, you have to name Ayla something else. So we name her capital A.
Don't we just name her blank?
Or do you name her capital A or 9 or what? I don't know. But you can name her different things. It's all about the same speed. So DrunkenDraconian gets the capital A. I think redslash is 9. It's interesting to see how people do the renaming differently. Of course, redslash has a Bobo. And Bobo is actually important here because there's this party scene here where the characters do different things during this party even when you talk to them. And Marl's and Luca's are quite long, but Robo is a party animal, and he just wants to like run around in place a bit and just stand there. It's really short. It's the fastest one we had access to. So Bobo, being a bro, making us get through the scene quickly. So if you don't change your party out, you have a bad time.
Absolutely. I guess while we're just kind of sitting in this cutscene, this is the Defeat Magus Showcase race between DrunkenDraconian and redslash, kind of setting us up for a tournament. Defeat or beat the snot out of Magus tournament we're going to be having. If you're interested in participating, signups are still open. Someone will drop a link in chat. Join us on the Discord. We've got amazing guides. There's practice materials all over the place. Everyone's super willing and friendly to help. Personally, I just started learning this game a few weeks ago, and everyone's been awesome. You got people like Tsunami, mega experienced. Anyway, just come hang out, follow the tournament, participate, whatever. Just, yeah, it's going to be a blast.
It's going to be great. And a lot of great races like this one. This one's quite close. Has some twists.
It's had some twists.
So just some cutscenes and a mashing game. Very simple.
We're gonna get our soup on.
Yeah, it's soup. That's definitely what it is. Definitely a soup.
Is it a stew?
It's not a soup at all.
It's not a soup.
Well, in the Japanese version, it's like clearly alcoholic. But in the American release, that's inappropriate, so they changed it to soup. So now we're fading out.
We just had, yeah, I almost forgot about that, but another fade out glitch, yeah.
Skipping a cutscene from Kino, who is really annoying and talks a lot, so it's a lot faster to just fade him out and not have to deal with it. And this is kind of like Dinodoro, where there's like a ton of fights lurking, and you just kind of have to move in such a way that skips them.
I will say this is a tricky. It is. I mean, it is long.
It is, and it isn't. It's trickier than it looks, because the fights that are lurking are quite close by.
Yeah, learning it was tough. The practice materials were great, but like when I took them away, my first few runs through there were a little painful.
And there's some great material for learning the locations of triggers. redslash has made a series of maps that have all of the triggers, And there's also a Lua script that shows triggers if you play on emulator. So get into this evil fight. Yep. Just doing some actual battles now. After a bunch of drinking soup. Air quotes.
Soup and battles. Get hype.
Just fighting a spooky Megasaur, which we need to attack with lightning. And the manipulating a sick Ayla crit. Ayla...
Lightning starts popping its head into the run a little bit now.
Yeah, because things require you to use lightning now, because the dinosaurs require to be hit by lightning to damage them, and then, of course, Magus has some attacks that require lightning. We gotta avoid a bunch of battles here, and there's some battles we can't avoid. Some precise movement there to skip all the battles in that room, and then this one we can't really avoid. We can just run from. It's a tricky run away.
Yeah.
DrunkenDraconian's case, you saw that he got hit by that evil weevil, and that allows him to see that he was on the right RNG, which he already knew, but there's stuff like that where you can see, oh, it's a 34, that means something good. If you were in doubt about your earlier actions.
So coming up is the Nizbel fight, and it's probably it's an easy fight.
It's pretty easy. It's gotten some more interesting tech recently. There's a new script for it, but there's like an attack skip or something.
And we're gonna really depend on lightning here to keep his defense low.
Yeah, in a lot of ways, this fight is cycle based, in that if you don't manipulate the Ayla crits properly, it can take another cast of lightning to finish them off. But there's this particular RNG string we're on right now, which just has a ton of Ayla crits. And she just goes nuts.
2 Ayla attacks, yep.
Another Ayla crit. And this is by far the best string for crits. So a lot of fights rely on this sort of thing.
So yeah, as we mentioned earlier, we have Berserk on Ayla, so we can't control with button, inputs Ayla, but we can use the manipulation to kind of control, how she attacks and her crits. So
an interesting thing about
cheating the system here.
An interesting thing about Berserker is that when a character makes an attack with a Berserker, it pushes the RNG forward a bunch more than like a normal attack would if you were just controlling them, and it makes planning Berserk fights a bit more complicated because the Berserk jumps are random and weird, but it also allows us to do something cool later in the run. But we're kind of just using our attacks in such a way to get a lot more crits.
Yeah, and you can see redslash is just walking through this script pretty much perfectly. It is a long script, but I mean, I think it's hard to mess it up.
And it's a Nizbel fight done for redslash. And DrunkenDraconian really not so far behind him.
I mean, if you can get through Massa, like Mune, Nizbel's a breeze.
Yeah.
But now's when the run really starts to pick up.
Yes, and here Ayla throws up from the air quotes soup. She ate too much soup, I guess.
I know that feeling, just...
I mean, I can't say I haven't been there, but I don't think it's soup. It's definitely not soup in the DS version, where they've changed the translation.
Oh, did they really? That I did not know.
The DS version is completely rewritten. So stuff like that's changed, and like item names are changed to be more accurate translations and whatnot. DrunkenDraconian finishing up. He looks like he's about a minute behind redslash, a little lower. Which is a decent bit of time at this point, but it's not insurmountable if redslash makes a major mistake.
Things can go wrong. Magus
It has already gone wrong. Redslash missing into time save anywhere and having a really off-script Masamune fight. So now we have some more story to do. In fact, a lot of story to do. And we can only skip a little bit of it. So we're going to go into Melchior's house, who we sort of talked to before. We're going to fade him out again, skip the first part of this cutscene.
Melchior gets no respect. No respect. You're just fading him out, you're canceling his text, you're pushing him around a room, the poor guy.
So changing our characters like that bugs this cutscene out, because normally your other party members like help Melchior out, but because you changed the party members, the game just doesn't know what character to make do what. So you can skip some parts of it, and we can also like run into him to make him go faster, as redslash is doing right now.
Yeah, we're just picking on the poor guy to make him go faster.
You gotta make the old man go fast.
Yeah, he's too slow for the run, but also it's a shame because it's one of the best music tracks of the game. I could sit down there all day, which we'll get to hear from Draconian when he gets there.
Not that much of it, though. We really miss out on that track, even in a full no LSS or LSS run, just because we don't spend that much time in that part.
It's such an awesome track.
But redslash heading back to the past.
They're all awesome tracks.
We're going to get our final bird skip. This one is of some importance. It would require a reload later if he fails the bird skip. So it's not just the time of getting into the fight that he'd lose, it's also a reload later. But it's an easy trick. It's 2 pixel window and you can take it slow.
Bird skip. Legit. Done.
Easy done. 3 for 3. Listening to the great music on DD's side. That's all we get, though.
Out here a little bit. I'll be listening.
That's all you get.
It's not fair. It's not fair.
So unfair.
You know what? I'm just gonna like hack the ROM and just put it in more places.
Third opportunity for a new for redslash. No new. One more chance. Also, right now we're gonna have some juicy cutscenes that are completely unskippable as far as we know. I wish they would be able to be skipped, but for now we just gotta master some text boxes.
Gotta power through. We're gonna do this last new check, and maybe we'll do some pitching. And like you have to mash through it. It's not like a bathroom break or anything. Like you gotta sit there and you gotta tough it out every time.
That's the whole thing. There's really no significant input breaks in Magus RTA, but it's not that long, so it's not so bad. In the full game runs, there are some. Ooh, DrunkenDraconian fell in a bird skip. So now we gotta see what that's like. It's not the end of the world. He loses the time having to run away from this fight, which is a little bit, and it's gonna have to reload later.
So it kind of throws off the script a little bit.
Yeah. Because there will be some fights.
It's an easy reload, I think, before Magus' Castle anyway.
Yeah.
So let's check out this second final new run? Or is this the final new run?
redslash still has 1. DrunkenDraconian still has 2.
Right.
Because redslash has just entered Frog's area, and he's going to have to leave later. DrunkenDraconian is just entering. Looks like there's no new for him.
Oh man, what a day. What a day.
I don't think DrunkenDraconian got one earlier.
No,
so
he
it was
did
just
not.
one for redslash. I hope redslash does another one.
Look, that's the real winner. Most
Yeah.
new.
You lose. You gotta save a whole minute for every new you see.
You snooze, you news, or something. So, Tsunami, why are we here today? What are we doing?
This is the Defeat Magus Showcase race. We're going to have a tournament in July. You can check it out. It's open to all skill levels. You can learn. There are tons of people learning just for the tournament. You can check it out.
Absolutely.
Check out that link. There's a lot of resources for learning the run. They're linked at the challenge page, but you can check the speedrun.com page or the Chrono Wiki dot. It's really great. There's a ton of resources. There's a great tutorial by El Gran Jerry. There's some tutorials by Chrono Kirby and DrunkenDraconian that are a little different, but a lot of great stuff. There's routes on the wiki. There's route documents. It's a ton of stuff.
It really is, and it's all very up to date. So you're going to be able to hang out with the guys who are putting it together. The tournament's fantastic. It's going to be a ton of fun.
And you can check out the tournament Discord and the challenge page or the Chrono Series Discord, which is you can ask your questions there. People are helpful. No second new for redslash. Unfortunate.
Very unfortunate. That could be a game changer.
Yeah. One more major cutscene for redslash. DrunkenDraconian's well into his first cutscene.
And just like one more point, like I've only been doing this run for about 3 weeks, and it does not take a lot of time to start figuring all this stuff out. And
you definitely have time to learn.
Yeah.
Some emotional cutscenes here that we're just gonna mash right through. Glenn is definitely a marshmallow. I mean, he's so green, like all the marshmallows.
There's just so much emotion on both screens. I don't know what to do. Pass me a tissue.
It's really a lot of cutscenes, but I kind of like it in a way. You kind of get to sit here and just mash your way through and prepare yourself for the last little bit of the run, because it
makes a lot of sense.
It's really paced. It's a breakneck pace from here on out. There's a lot of stuff going on in Magus' castle. I didn't see if DrunkenDraconian saw a new. I have to look on the restream. Nope, no news for DrunkenDraconian and one for redslash. That's a big advantage for redslash.
It really is. Almost call this a day, really.
Yeah. redslash getting close to the end here, and then like this last part with the Masamune, and it's great. We don't really know what's going on because we skipped a lot of the cutscenes and bosses and stuff, but it's nice.
There's a frog, a robot. Some people are upset. There's time travel. You get it.
Is the frog gonna use the Excalibur, the Masamune, to open up this mountain here?
There was a lot of opening of mountains in SNES era games. I think Final Fantasy IV has a mountain opening scene as well.
Don't know why the villains keep hiding their bases in mountains. They seem quite vulnerable.
Yeah, it's the first place people look, apparently. Every time I see a mountain, I'm suspicious.
But there's a bunch of mountains in this game, too, later on. There's Death Mountain.
Mm-hmm.
Mount Woe.
See the dab there? The dab with the sword at the end?
Nice.
Pretty good.
Alright, so we got a battle here. This part's interesting because there's a fight. There's a trigger that we have to try to skip, but it's based on like the loading of the trigger is based on some of the time we spend in the battle and in like the text boxes here. So we gotta do a good job of the text boxes. And redslash runs right past it.
Yeah, and if you want to check if you're on script, you can let that first, I think, rat there attack you, and it's a good way to know.
The damage values from the rats can be used to tell your RNG value, which DrunkenDraconian hasn't reloaded yet, I don't think. So he's gonna, use that. Well, he already knows, so he'll probably reload after that fight.
Yeah. So here we go. The Magus Castle is just hilarious. It is a fast pace. There's just a ton going on in every room.
It's really crazy because I mean, the crazy thing is that at some point it is said that we're gonna have to beat like 100 monsters or something. But
yeah,
we don't fight 100 monsters because we can skip a bunch of them. And we can just run away from a bunch of them too, and it's really inconsistent which ones we can and can't run away from. So you're probably gonna learn some fights that you can run away from, that you never knew you could just run away from.
Yeah, so we're just entering and exiting rooms here just to trigger the fake flea fight.
Yeah. Gotta go through here and go to the end rooms so we can fight a bunch of scary monsters in the entrance hall.
So I think Draconian's gonna have to reload.
Yeah, it's a really generous reload here.
Yeah,
it's like a 1 second window.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's giant. And what's interesting is, because of this giant window, this is actually kind of the origin of all RNG manipulation in this game. The flea fight coming up, the manipulation for it can basically happen accidentally. Which you'll see what I mean by this when we get there. DrunkenDraconian doing the reload for the RNG. But we're gonna have this first fight here. There's a fight here. We have to do this fight properly to get on the right window for the flea fight. But it's rather simple.
Yeah. Just gonna do a rocket roll.
Yep.
And we're gonna set Frog on his slurp as well.
So as soon as we finish this fight, we're gonna menu for Frog and set up his equipment properly, because this requires some stuff.
Yeah, we're gonna need Berserker, which we've made use of multiple times. So we're gonna hand that over to Frog and just let him go berserk.
We're also gonna put the Ruby Vest on him and unequip his helm, and it's nice. Gonna make use of some sick Frog crits.
The first time I did this was like one of the happiest moments.
It's really satisfying. It's a lot more satisfying than
really
unmanipulated.
You just sit back and relax, and he just gets it done. It's fantastic.
So this isn't Flea. This is Flea question mark. Steals all of Frog's mana, but that's okay because he is Berserk, so he can't use it anyway. So basically, the manipulation here is that we're going to not really do much. And because of the ability of the Berserker to advance the RNG in a certain way, and it also has to do with Frog's speed stat, it's synced with Flea's speed stat. So like Frog is attacking just as Flea's turn is coming up, and it's manipulating Flea's AI in such a way that Flea just never attacks. Flea would attack if we just let this go to its logical end, but that's not how it's going to go.
Look, Frog has just got a lot of built-up anger.
Flea just sits there and laughs. I technically kind of lied when I said there was no major input breaks in the run, because this is an input break of a decent amount of time. But you have to be kind of careful with knowing when to come back and do the last inputs. But as I
usually look for, like, I think I wait for the 10th, which I think is like 154 or something, and that's usually when I start counting.
There's a music cue you can use there, and you can just memorize all the values. It's not so bad.
It's 155. There it is.
There's going to be 4 crits by Frog in a row, which is super nice. It's part of why what's going on. We're getting all those crits. But if we just let Frog continue going on, Flea breaks out, so we have to use some attacks from our other characters to finish it off before Flea breaks out. And but as I mentioned, this is kind of the source. This is the source of RNG manipulation in the run, because what happened is this just kind of happens accidentally because the window's so big. Someone just figured out, oh, you can just not attack, and Flea just dies. So eventually someone's like, well, we know what RNG we're on coming out of this fight always, because Flea dies at the same point every time. So why don't we just continue doing the same things into the slash fight? And then there was a slash script made. It's since changed. the slash script, but things kind of got adapted around from there. From there, it was a natural conclusion to manip things after slash up to Magus, and then eventually it was discovered that you could reload to set your seed and whatnot.
That's hilarious. That's how RNG manip was born for this game.
Yeah, it was kind of crazy because way back in the day, in like 2014, like it was just Flea, and then someone it was Kill Eye, I think. It's like, hey, we can just manipulate slash too. So that's where it started. DrunkenDraconian's just getting his doing nothing on, and redslash is doing this the seeded fight before slash. It's quite important to be done correctly.
Yeah, it's pretty straightforward too.
Yeah, most of the stuff isn't so bad.
The regular encounters all tend to be pretty
for the
good.
most part.
There's a lot of memorization. But we are coming up to the slash fight, which is kind of there's a lot. It's a long fight. 2 phases.
It's a long fight.
A long script.
It's evolved over time, as I've said. We kind of manipulate a bunch of crits out of Frog and whatnot. Because Frog does the most damage of all of our characters. We want him to get the crits in the script. So we kind of have to change our way of attacking with our other characters to make sure he's the one getting the crits.
I guess, like, when you're first learning this fight, it really throws in a lot of things. Like, you're going to be using items. You're going to be varying up attacks. It's not necessarily hard, but there is a lot.
It's actually in a way easier than it used to be. Because in the old strat, it used to be like a really tiny frame mid-tonic. But you had to like get in the menu super fast during a mid-tonic. And it was very risky. And also discovered that we were basically doing it for no reason. Because there's another strat that worked just as well that we knew about before. We like switched off of it because some people ran on the virtual console where the short frame mid-tonic didn't work. And it was like, oh, we didn't have to be doing this at all. It's more dangerous and also slower. The 8-frame mid-tonic, what a part of the script.
That is that makes no sense.
It's really funny.
So, just for people, who might have different versions of the game, is the current script, the RNG manipulation, does that all work on Virtual Console the same way it does regular console?
There are some things that don't work on Virtual Console. Like I mentioned, the 8-frame mid-tonic. And I'm not really up to date on what all works on Virtual Console and doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
But there can be some minor differences. And it's really weird, too, because there's also some differences between like different Super Nintendos too. Different versions of the Super Nintendo can do slightly different things in certain tricks. But yeah, Virtual Console is slower than Super Nintendo and emulator.
Right.
And it's also scary. Elrangeria is saying that everything should work up to Magus. There is some stuff later on in the full game categories that doesn't work the same way.
It's probably not worth the hassle.
Yeah, it's slower, like we said. Super Nintendo and BizHawk in particular, Beast Nest, whatnot, those are the same speed, basically. SNES 9X is slightly slower.
So both runners, fairly straightforward fight.
I think the most interesting part of the slash fight, though, is the very end. Because it's quite dangerous, because he gets really upset and starts doing crazy amounts of damage to you. And you're kind of really wanting to shorten that as much as possible. And if you're improvising, then you really have to kind of be careful. But we can use the RNG manipulation to heal proactively instead of reactively. So instead of having to react to things happening to heal, normally, if you weren't manipulating, you'd be like, oh, I just got down to 1 health. That was very close. But that's all part of the plan. The red might be off?
Yeah.
This is not on...
following.
This is not on PlayStation. PlayStation is a different beast. These runners are both playing on the Super Nintendo. The PlayStation version, all the tricks work, but the loads are really bad.
Oof. Best to avoid that, if at all possible.
Yeah, opening menus takes a while, and getting into fights takes a while. And opening menus taking a while is bad because of stuff like the fade out glitch and whatnot. It's not
Very brutal,
good.
yeah.
Red slash
wrap.
slash fight.
So now the climb to Magus.
It seems the red slash was indeed off because he's doing a reload here. Like we've mentioned, there's if you do the fight correctly, it's all one string from. It's one string from. Gosh, when was the last time we would have reloaded?
Oh.
It's one string from like Masamune until the end, I think.
Yeah, that's right.
So it's a really crazy long string, and it's really satisfying to keep that going the whole way. But Red Slash is getting in some fights with some hinges that he can just run from. And he will keep getting into fights where he can just run from.
He's indicated that he forgot to hold the button. So
sometimes important to hold the button. In fact,
yeah.
I don't really mention this, but when you have the cursor set on memory, you can press the X button to attack, and in fact, you can buffer the attack by holding X before the character's turn comes up. And that is used to be able to use the attack as the first frame it's possible. And it makes for RNG manipulation a lot simpler than the alternative of having like mash it out or something. This also leads to a bunch of interesting situations in which using the attack with the X button doesn't change your memory cursor. So you can still have your cursor remember the text that you were going to use, but use an attack instead.
Yeah, I think when I first started running, practicing the game, that was an odd one to get in my head, knowing that my attack was with X but my cursor button, like that took a little time, but once you get that rhythm of it, it feels so good, like switching back and forth.
Slash going through the spooky guillotine room. What's interesting about the guillotine room is that because of Robo's HP being the way it is, he doesn't take as much damage from the guillotine. Basically, it only works on, architecturally speaking, the last bits of the HP values. And since Robo's HP is above those values, he can't go below a certain HP value. So Red Slash skipping a bunch of battles here. I'll point them out more when DrunkenDraconian goes through.
Yeah, he was so fast through it, I filled in space.
This is kind of tricky for some people.
A lot can go wrong right about here for Red Slash, but he just makes it look easy.
Yeah. So I'll call it out when DrunkenDraconian gets there, but those rollies, you have to be still when they pass you. But if you like get to them when they're going around a corner, you can go fast and quickly. And Red Slash did it in a super, in a very quick way.
Yeah, and there's a few movement tricks you can do to kind of speed that up around the corners.
Oh no!
Draconian.
That is not good. So there's a bunch of pits in that room, where if you fall into them, you fall down a hole and get into a fight. And there's also things that look like save points all around the room. And two of them start battles. One of them is an actual save point. One of them teleports you back to the start of the previous room. But the pattern of the things is based on which hole you fall into. So hopefully DrunkenDraconian knows which save point to go through, and only gets to this one extra fight. Really unfortunate though. It's a tight window, but it's not that tight to move through the gap there.
Right. And I mean, in terms of movement, there's a lot to remember in this game. I think it's what makes it appealing.
All the skips in Magus' Tower, it's very dense. It's hard to really mention everything that the runners are doing here. Because Red Slash is busy manipulating fights in this part. And by manipulating, I mean just running away from one, just in the middle. There's 3 fights in this room. 2 of them you have to fight, and the one in the middle you can just run away from for some reason. Oh no. DrunkenDraconian doesn't know which save point to go to. So he's found the actual save point, and that means that the teleport is the opposite one of that. redslash manipulating this juggler fight. This is I always like this fight. It's nice that we have extra back in the run too, but the jugglers alternate between taking increased magic damage and increased, well, it's decreased actually, taking decreased magical damage and decreased physical damage. So
slash, yeah.
You have to kind of plan your attacks carefully, and the X slash is real nice. Yeah. We used to have a different strat that didn't involve X slash. X slash was not in this run.
That is unfortunate for such a cool
Bounce
attack.
back.
It's just some more dodging, running, dodging, and running.
A bunch of fights in the middle of those statues, but you can just run to the outside to avoid them. It's another bizarre oversight, like being able to run from that middle fight in the room that DrunkenDraconian's in now.
And this Ozzy fight I find just bizarre.
That's weird. There's 4 little cranks that you have to attack. And what's interesting about the sequence of fights is that it's kind of a natural RNG funnel. If you make some minor mistakes in the previous fights, you can still get back on track here, because the fight's ending and we're starting. Oh, the frog attacked a mess. That's fine. It's still going down, but
that won't mess up the.
Nope, we're still on track.
Okay.
This last one's 119 is good to go. But he got 125 on the one before, so he's fine. Doing a tech menu thing too. Well, an item menu thing specifically.
It's always great when your attack damage looks right. There's no better feeling. This is our final crawl.
Yeah, it's not a lot left. Just a nice little cutscene with some great music, which we won't be hearing until DrunkenDraconian gets there, but fight.
I know you guys are... You're gonna figure out why we call it the Defeat Magus Showcase.
Yeah,
here it is.
Defeat Magus. Here it
comes.
Sense.
It makes sense. It makes total sense.
So this fight is really incredible, the amount of stuff that goes into running this fight, because Magus's counters are based on the RNG manipulation. So we kind of have to plan around that. And it's interesting because we only have access to 2 elements because of the fact that we never taught Frog magic. So only Chrono's lightning ability and Chrono and Robo's dual tech rocket roll. Well, also, Laser Spin also does shadow damage. But Chrono's lightning and Robo allows us access to shadow. So we only have access to lightning and shadow for progressing in the fight. Can't do water damage, and fire is real bad for us because it does not affected. It's not affected by the unequipped glitch. But shadow is perfectly fine. We get a shadow barrier, and we attack with Frog in order to decrease his Magus defense and use a rocket roll. But if we do the attacks correctly during animations and whatnot, we can manipulate the actual barriers we get. DrunkenDraconian still fighting some, doing some missing nonsense with Frog. Quite interesting. But as mentioned, we need to have the barriers be correct. I think it's 2 shadow, 2 lightning, in that order. So, doing tons of damage with rocket roll.
Mm-hmm.
Get a lightning barrier, which we can attack with Chrono's lightning attack. DrunkenDraconian changing this party up because we put Luca in to make that one fight with the jugglers faster and take her back out. And DrunkenDraconian did not get the value he wanted, apparently. So he knew he was off RNG, so he is reloading. This one is a really tight window. Though, the thing with the window being tight, actually, is that there's actually scripts if you mess up the load.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, redslash.
Yeah, I'm just.
Redslash is in trouble
He was on.
too.
He was on script. I don't know where it went wrong. Maybe chat can enlighten us. Everything was looking okay. Did something happen around the mid-tonic?
Did he have a safety save? I don't think he made a safety save. Oh no, he looks like he's okay.
Somewhere.
Yeah, he had
yeah.
a safety save. So DrunkenDraconian's in the lead again.
Well, this is interesting now because, yeah, we're fairly close.
Yeah. DrunkenDraconian has a slight lead. If they've both done the reload correctly, it's kind of difficult to make up the time difference just in this fight if no one makes mistakes. But I mean, DrunkenDraconian can do the same thing too, so I find it unlikely. Attacking with Chrono there. So, I
mean, this fight is a big point of focus for runners. If you've ever seen this game run at marathons or anything, there's a lot of silence for the Magus fight.
Yeah, it's interesting, and I really enjoy doing this fight for whatever reason. It's one of my favorite fights to perform.
So we're gonna get a shadow barrier after this for Draconian.
So chat's pointing out what happened to redslash is, oof, he missed the reload too. It's bad news bears. What happened to redslash in his first attempt at the Magus fight was that he didn't shelter. Because if you're on the right RNG, you can skip the shelter and have a faster fight. Well, not the fight being faster necessarily, but you skip the menu basically. But redslash forgot to shelter and then did the non-shelter skip fight.
Nice frog critical. So we'll see if this mid-tonic goes okay. Magus with some lightning. Frog will attack. Two Chrono slashes coming up.
Yeah, so we've changed the phase of the fight. Things change a little bit from here. Magus is a lot more susceptible to physical damage now, so we're going to be using a lot more of that. Specifically, we're going to be getting a lot of crits with Frog. Frog has the hero medal, so he has an increased crit chance. So we use that to just get a ton of crits with Frog. Though, since DrunkenDraconian reloaded, he's not guaranteed the crit string, so you kind of have to hope for it. I think it's kind of in mash mode, I think. Dark Matter is a quite spooky attack in casual play. It does a lot of damage, but because of the unequip glitch, it's not as scary to us because we have increased resistance to magic attacks that aren't fire. But since Dark Matter is shadow, completely fine. We can survive some attacks of that nature. DrunkenDraconian just getting those attacks up. Magus has, I think, exactly. Let's see. It has exactly 6,666 HP. Because, yeah, of course.
Of course.
It's a bunch of HP to go through. Oh, DrunkenDraconian has defeated Magus.
Thus concluding
the timing ends on Magus taking a knee, so DrunkenDraconian has won the race, officially with a time
Bravo.
of 1:54.27 on his side.
Lots of hype in chat, guys. That was a fantastic run from DrunkenDraconian.
But yeah, redslash is finishing off here. What an interesting race! I would not have expected. I would not have expected this many lead switches.
Just from the tiniest of things too, huh? Like it's amazing how it adds up.
Taking a swap to Red's audio here, so I can hear this music again, which is great. Red just finishing it off in phase 2.
Yeah, well, redslash is wrapping up. This is the Defeat Magus showcase, and I hope you guys really enjoyed this so far. This is going to be a tournament, I believe, in July. Is that right, Tsunami?
Yep, it'll start on.
We have the winner. The winner's gracing us. DrunkenDraconian, what's up? How are you feeling?
Can you hear me okay?
Oh.
Absolutely.
All right. Yeah, what happened there at the end? I thought I was for sure behind, especially.
Well, you were behind.
Yeah, okay.
Until redslash died.
Oh.
He took a hit before the fight and kind of delayed on a mid-time.
He did shelter skip strats without, like, he couldn't do shelter skip strats because he got hit. So
I see.
He just died. And then he got a fire attack, so he couldn't even recover.
Oh shoot!
Very unlucky.
Yeah,
what a crazy race! redslash missed.
Insane.
redslash missed in a time save anywhere, and then you had a mishap in Masamune.
Yeah.
Then redslash had a mishap on Masamune.
I was actually on gold pace for the Masamune split because I hit the password.
No. Yeah, that was crazy.
How stressed were you when you dropped in Magus's castle?
I already knew I was behind, so it wasn't that bad. But it was just, I don't know. I've been practicing that room and doing it quickly, and I think trying to take it safely actually cost me.
Yeah. If you do what you haven't practiced, even if it's technically safer, it can be a lot less safe.
There it is. redslash is done.
redslash finishing up at the time of 1:56.22.
Lots of GGs in chat, guys. redslash just looking dynamite. It was a great run.
Incredible race. I thought it was a really interesting.
It was tons. I can't wait to see new runners and senior runners and all kinds of people going through this. It's going to be such a blast.
Yeah, the tournament is open to anyone of any skill level. Come check it out.
Yeah, this game is really rewarding to learn.
Yeah, and it's really accessible. There's a lot of resources that are really great. There's a really helpful community. It's great. So if you are interested at all from what you've seen, the top runners seem to have interesting races, so it'll be a good tournament.
Yeah, I think we're sitting at, well, we were at 25 there a little while ago.
We're going to get to 30, guys. We need 30 signups. Let's do it.
I'd love to see 32.
That'd be
40.